there's a piece, John, in which you refer to them as the yeah guys when they're directing. Can you enlighten me on that?
They talk.
Yeah?
Sometimes. Yeah. No. I just think that's sort of a...
But the kind of thing you probably, I gather, you don't like is a sort of heavy intellectualized analysis of your films. But if I'm totally wrong about that, feel free.
No, it's just difficult sometimes because journalists think about the movie that you're, whatever movie you're promoting, in a different way than we do. I mean, as you say, a sort of heavy analysis, which isn't how we go about writing it or thinking about it when we're making it.
They expect, in a certain sense, for us to do their job for them. Yeah. You know, so they sort of, we make the movie and then they sort of take it apart, but they, in interviews frequently, they want us to take it apart for them, which is not sort of that interesting to us, really.
Well, they're puzzled by sometimes. By the way, I had a great time at Barton Fink, and thank you for letting me see it.
Oh, good, thanks.
And I wondered when I left it if you ever do what I know one filmmaker does, which is hide under a table, truly, I'll tell you later who it is, at a screening, and listen to comments. What do you like to hear when people come out? Have you ever done this?
Jeez.
No, well, actually, I haven't lurked around the sort of exits to screenings, you know, and tried to hear, but I have been guilty of, well, I went to a screening recently at the Museum of Modern Art where I left early and I was making a rather uncharitable remark about the film that I'd just seen, and the filmmaker had been hiding around the corner next to the elevator and sort of came out and introduced himself, which was really, it was very embarrassing. But I sort of figure if you want to, if you're going to lurk around the elevator after one of your screenings, you deserve to hear an unvarnished opinion of the movie.
Have you ever heard one that just went through you like a chilled arrow? Chilled arrow, I like that.
I'm trying to remember. I can't think of one specifically.
Yeah.
We were at a focus group. It was sort of a test market screening in Dallas or Fort Worth, Texas for Raising Arizona, right before it opened. And a woman came up to me. I was sitting in the back of the audience. The movie finished. Most of the people who were there to fill out the cards or whatever left. And I was trying to look unobtrusive in the back of the audience there, and a woman came up to me and she said, "Did you have something to do with this film?" She looked rather angry, so I wasn't sure quite what to say, and I decided to sort of chicken out and take the go halfway, and I said, "Well, I wrote it." And she said, "Well, I just have to say you really do understand the mentality of the Texas convict. I ought to know I spent 13 years in the penitentiary," which I thought was an interesting remark.
Do you tend to attract ex-cons? John, what was your old neighborhood like? People want to know what, you know, when an actor is as praised as you are, and just people talk about there's nothing the guy can't do and that kind of thing.
I came from, I would say, pretty regular, you know, middle-class background in Queens.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything out of the ordinary, except maybe my family was a little, you know, good at expressing themselves.
And you've avoided typecasting so far, which is a miracle. Nobody seeing Barton Fink would ever cast you if that was anything they'd seen you in.
Right.
In some of the earlier stuff you've done.
Well, thanks to certain people like Joel and Ethan who have given me opportunity to do different things. You know, you have to be given a chance, and then it's up to you to, you know, to be able to do that. But that's the reason, you know, I've wanted to be an actor, was not to do, you know, parts like where I came from or play always guys from Queens or stuff like that. So I like to do different type of things, and that's the reason why I act.
I just noticed something that didn't hit me during the film, and that is, maybe it's because of the size of the television screen, your resemblance to George S. Kaufman, a man you're all too young to have missed in that shot.
That was really their idea.
In a sense?
We saw, that was kind of the visual model for the character.
Really?
Yeah, it was. 'cause
Yeah,
we'd
we all
seen
happened to
pictures
see a
of him.
picture of him in the Times. Actually, it was a couple months before we started shooting, you know, with the stand-up hair and the glasses. And we thought, we all agreed he was pretty doofy looking.
He would not talk like that, though. I mean,
No,
No,
right,
he wasn't
as
in
the
any
man
way
who
a
was
model
known
for
as
the character.
Groucho Marx's god.
Right.
Yeah.
He was certainly not
One of the
the
great wits of our time.
not the pill that Barton is.
Yeah. Did you ever have anybody but John in mind for this part?
No, we wrote it for John.
There are two contradictory things I read about. They say how carefully you write, how you don't want anybody to change dialogue, that this is not a set where you encourage everybody to improvise and just, as they say in that awful phrase, have fun with it. But on the other hand, they claim you don't know where you're going in making the films and that you sometimes...
Well, actually, that's...
How are two things like this possible at the same time?
Well, one of them is, the second is a misunderstanding, actually, of the way we work. We often, I think when we originally, where that originally that idea came from is a remark we made about the way we go about writing as opposed to the way we go about producing the film once we're on the set. When we're writing, we frequently don't know what direction the story is going to take. We don't do outlines, that sort of thing.
I gave you the opportunity to resume that sentence. Sorry about that break.
Yeah, no, what I was saying is we frequently don't know the direction we're going to go when we're writing the script. We don't do an outline. We just sort of start with the first scene and see where the story takes us as we're writing it. But once we start shooting, we don't digress much from what we've written.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that we don't encourage the actors to have fun with it. It's just that we don't, at that point, we sort of like to keep the dialogue the way it is. The dialogue sometimes changes in the rehearsal, but not when we're shooting.
Well, I read an incident where the guy shot a scene and then you stopped him and said you missed that word, and
Well, sometimes if it's an important word, we'll go back for it.
yeah. If it's the subject of the sentence.
Yeah.
I also think that's misinterpreted for a lot of different. People say, well, they're really like control freaks, and I've read these these interviews that they want to control everything, which is not the case. It's the case is they give you a lot of freedom. How you do it, they give you a tremendous amount of freedom. But if someone comes up with an idea that has nothing to do with what they wrote, and that's what happens sometimes, the guy says, well, I feel like vomiting in this scene.
Yeah.
And then, well, this scene's not about that.
Right.
They don't encourage that type of...
It might spoil the wedding scene if actors suddenly fell the edge.
Although generally we don't discourage vomiting. We've had a lot of that in different movies.
Yeah, it's a strong thematic one.
But I mean, like say like a love scene or something.
Right.
Somewhere a learned paper is being written about vomiting and and its symbolism in the films. You were saying something interesting during the break, which was that you've kind of based a character on somebody after the fact. You know what I'm talking about? Miller's Crossing.
I have to say this on.
Oh, you don't have to say
this guy
that.
It's kind of unfair, doesn't it? Hey, Dick, what's the story with your forehead? I was just wondering.
There's a connection. I'll draw it for you in just a moment. But nobody can remember. No actor can, and other people too, actors and regular people can forget your begging for your life thing, which was truly amazing. I mean, it was just, someday it'll be in the time capsule of great moments. I hate to ask anyone this, but I'm going to anyway since he was rude enough to ask about my forehead. As they say in the trade, what were you drawing upon for that?
Actually, when Joel and Ethan was standing there, like saying, "God, cry, John, come on." I mean, they're he's really tyrannical. You got to do whatever you can do, in a situation like that. It's not, I have never.
You don't have to have ever had a gun to your
life.
Head or anything.
I actually did have a gun to my head once.
Come on.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that at all. I was a teenager, and I drove into a schoolyard, and at night, a guy was playing basketball, and my friends and I were sort of yelling, and then we drove in to play basketball with the guy, because there was one guy and there was three of us, and the guy took a gun out and put it right to my head. I remember I was on a bicycle, and I was trying to pedal away, but I couldn't really move. And he said, "I'm a cop." I said, "Oh, we just came to play basketball. We thought we'd like to shoot some hoops with you."
Well, a cop would never shoot anyone, so you knew you were safe there.
Right. No, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, it's a combination of a lot of different things. Plus, it was a well-written scene, and I just, that's your job to come up with. It's hard because to do something like that, if you've really never really been through it in a way, so you just sort of have to substitute as best as possible.
That was also interesting because it was, I think, the first scene we shot with you.
The second.
Was
Actually,
the,
Actually,
oh,
the second, the first day
scene.
was with.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you make him do it again?
Oh, many times.
We did it. Actually, we spent most of the day doing that.
Yeah.
Those takes on you walking through the woods. Yeah. So we did it. There were a lot of takes of that.
I kept going the wrong way because I was getting lost. We had a path, but there was all these trees, and I was walking backwards. So sometimes I would go like in these little ditches, and I was like, because the guy had the steady cam, and I kept getting, I don't know, I kept thinking I'm never going to make it, you know, because so I had to walk backwards, and I didn't have a mark because there's, you know,
Yeah.
looking at trees and.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Unlike Henry Fonda, who they say never missed his mark no matter what happened.
Well, yeah. He's really good.
Your own mother said that you cut out pictures of actors as a kid, including Kirk Douglas. Why Kirk Douglas?
I like the way he croaked, and I don't know. I don't know about Kirk, you know. I don't know. I liked, you know, Spartacus and all those.
Yeah.
He just was one of the first people, him and Burt Lancaster. You know, I just was sort of, when he killed the guy in Spartacus, that was really got me started. When he put the guy's head in the soup, you know, that was it for me. You know, from then on in, I wanted to be.
Richard Woodmark
Spartacus.
mean anything to you? I mean, a man who'd push
No,
an
I
old
was
lady.
never really. Later on, people said, you
Yeah.
know, because I threw my mother out a window, and they said he threw his old lady down the stairs. But
Yeah. Just made-
that was never really a, you know.
How many films have mothers been thrown out of windows in? I think you broke new ground there, didn't you? Was that?
No, that was Five Corners, wasn't it?
Oh, in fact,
Tony
sure.
Bill. Yeah.
But I mean, it's such a moment. Can you
That we
remember who or what is responsible for that moment where you were standing when you created the idea of let's have Mom go out
Well,
the
that
window?
wasn't me. Actually, John Shanley wrote that, and
Yeah.
it was in the script.
Let's
you know.
defenestrate.
Yeah, and
later.
of course I have to like take the brunt, but it was really him getting his revenge on.
You know, on the street, or say, "Hey, wait a minute! You the guy threw his mother out the window?"
Yeah, they do that. Well,
Yeah.
some guy said to me recently, this was a while ago, but Cavi, he looked at me and said, "They let you out?" You know?
They let you out?
They let you out. Yeah, that was a while ago.
If anyone has just tuned in, he threw his mother out a window in a film. I want to make
Right.
that clear. People
I
do
would never
come
do
out.
that to my mother.
No, I never, I hope not. People do come out of Barton Fink wondering this. Did all of this stuff actually happen, or am I supposed to take it that some of it happened in the mind of the character?
Yeah. Well, it was never intended to literally be sort of taken as, you know, all a dream or something like that. Although the, I mean, the intention of the movie is certainly to be internal to the character of Barton, that what the movie is trying to sort of reflect his sort of state of mind, but not literally sort of taking it as a dream is taking it sort of one step further than was intended.
But speaking about Crania,
Yeah.
you were going to draw a connection with the Band-Aid on your forehead.
Well, the only reason I have the Band-Aid on my forehead is that it conceals a hideous scab underneath it. But since your films have often chilled me and produced images that
We
can't
thought
get out.
maybe you smashed into the wall after you saw Barton Fink, because that's a reaction that's been happening lately.
So, yeah, it's been. Oh, is that the movie that's causing riots everywhere? So I thought, just for fun.
You were throwing typewriters,
Yeah.
killed people.
Do you guys have this much pleasantry on the set, or is it all business?
No, it's a fairly relaxed set,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's fairly fast. I mean, we work fairly quickly, and we sort of concentrate on the work, but it's not a somber set, I wouldn't say.